All right, welcome back to my channel. Um, what's up? Today we're doing another White Chicks OB analysis. Today we're gonna do power. And first let's talk about the 5 types of power that can be seen in white chicks. So we can look at legitimate, which is FBI. They're instituted by the government, so they kind of have the ability to do stuff through that power. Coercive, which is mainly Vanessa, along with reward, which subsequently punishment, which is also Vanessa. We'll talk about that later with her followers, or we'll talk about it now. Her followers, she kind of, has them there because she has the ability to punish them, and because of that, she can keep them there, and coercive, emotional manipulation and stuff like that. And so, yeah. Anywho, referent and expert are the Copeland brothers, aka the Wilson sisters when they become the white chicks. Referent, actually we'll talk about that in a second. These can be found in the OB book. So moving on to each area, as we talked about before, the FBI has legitimate or kind of like positional for Director Gordon. He has a liaison-affaire style of leadership, so it's kind of laid back. Doesn't really interact, doesn't really take charge. It can lead to a lot of kind of bad stuff happening in emergencies, and especially when there's a lot of chaos. He doesn't really take charge. We can see this when he, is trying to find the kidnappers in the movie, and because there's the kidnapping scene going on at the fashion show, and so this is like phase 9 of the movie, and everybody's rushing around, and he's not really good at finding the people he needs to go after and then instructing other people to kind of search for them. He kind of just runs around and panics along with the rest of the crew. So not the best leadership style. We can also look towards the Hamptons. They function a lot on referent and reward power, just people following them because they're rich, because they're socially well equipped, and then also because they can reward people with the different parties and money and stuff like that, and tickets to special classy events. If we look at Vanessa again, she's coercive and punitive. She is underneath the Hamptons category, so she relies a lot on the previous 2 of referent and reward, but because she's kind of the inversion of a good referent and reward leadership style. And so she's the opposite of what you really want inside a workplace, because she can be very negative and manipulative, as I said. We can also look at the Copeland brothers. They didn't really have any power, especially in phase 1 to phase 4-ish, when they started establishing themselves, but they gained a lot of affluent power, and this was especially because of their servant style of leadership when they were the Wilson sisters. They really stooped low, if you will, or really got to the ground and helped the 3 other girls who were having issues socially, and they really encouraged them to stand up for themselves, and not only that, they just helped them in issues that they were having. And later on, they also gained expert power as the mission progressed, probably about phase 6 and forward, because they had a lot of experience and technique that nobody else had, because they became the Wilson sisters, and they were also still FBI agents, and so they had the ability to maneuver and really get inside the case in a way that nobody else was. That was, trying to make sure that the Wilson sisters weren't getting kidnapped. And yeah, in the end, a lot of this mixed into very opposing powers, especially the Hamptons versus Copeland versus FBI. It's kind of like a circle of opposing powers, because the FBI is investigating the Hamptons, right? And so you kind of see it in the background, but not really. They are messing with the Hamptons event that's going on. And then we can see it especially with Vanessa when the Hamptons are messing with the Copeland brothers or the Wilson sisters. They're trying to push them down and make sure they're not really a big part of the affluent society. And then these guys, or the Copeland brothers, are still serving underneath the FBI, and they're trying to keep their job. That's one of their motivators. And so it kind of is just like pressure is building, and so that's what happens in the end is when the three groups sort of collide and come in during the kidnapping scene, is the people in the Hamptons who were trying to be like in power and like coercive and like trying to kidnap were clashing with especially these two forces because they were put together, but also these two were clashing because of the fact that the FBI didn't know that the Copeland brothers were going undercover. So yeah, let me see, yeah. Have a good day, guys.